Tonight's talk is going to be dedicated to that theme. I would like to start with a story. It's not a happy story, I have to tell you. Many, many years ago, a long, long time ago, in the year 70 of the Common Era, the Romans had broken through Yerushalayim, the wall, and attacked the Beis Hamikdash, which eventually they burnt down. The Romans, before they sacked the Beis Hamikdash, wanted to do something very strange. They were afraid to go in by themselves. They had heard that this was a very holy place and that no one went in there except for the Kohanim. So they were very superstitious. They didn't want to go in themselves first. They wanted a Yid to go in there first. But which Yid is going to go in? Who's going to go into the Beis Hamikdash? No one is allowed to go into the Beis Hamikdash, especially it's destroyed. So they found a Yid. They found a Jew that was a traitor. A traitor. His name was Yosef. He came from a town called Shisai. And they said to him like this, Yosef Neshisai, you're a Roman already. You came over on our side. You're a traitor to your own people. Go into the Beis Hamikdash. Whatever you get, no matter what you get, it's yours. You keep it. The Beis went into the Beis Hamikdash. He didn't care. He walked in and walked out with a golden menorah. One of the golden menorahs. Okay. The Romans looked at him and they said to him, are you kidding? Well, this is what you take? Who uses such a menorah? You know what, you're going to put this in your house, a golden menorah, you're going to put this in your house and light it on Hanukkah? This is a menorah that's used by a king. Come on, don't be silly. Go in and take something that's useful to you. At this, he said no. He said, no, I'm not going in. One time I did it, I'm not going in again. I'm not going in again. So the Romans said, come on, what are you afraid? You went in once already. Nothing's going to happen to you. He said, one time I went against Hashem, I'm not going in again. When the Romans saw that he became stubborn, they offered him a deal of all deals. They said to him, 3 years taxes will relieve you. Imagine that. 3 years taxes, we're going to let you go. A phenomenal deal. All you got to do is just go into the Beis Hamikdash. He said, absolutely not. I went in once. I'm not going again into it. I angered God once, no more. The Romans this time took a different tact. And they threatened him with life. They said, if you don't go in, we're going to kill you. And Yosef, who was he was fry. He was a Roman. He converted over to their side. Said, I'm not going in. The Medrash tells us that what they did to him was they ripped him apart. They literally ripped him to pieces. Why am I starting a Farbrengen on Pesach Sheni with a story from the Medrash, which is in Parshas Toldos? What does this have to do with Pesach Sheni? Because this story is connected to the pasuk that when Yaakov Avinu goes in to trick his father and wants to get the brachas from his brother Esav, and Yaakov first touches him, sees him, who are you? Akol kol Yaakov Edani de Esav. Then he comes over to him and it says Vayorach, and he smelled as begodov. He smelled his clothes, and then he said to him, okay, I'm going to bless you. So the Gemara says, Al tikro begodov ela boigdov. Don't read the word begodov. Don't read the word his clothes. Read the word boigdov, his traitors. That Yaakov Avinu saw, Yitzchak Avinu saw in Yaakov the traitors that are going to come from the Yidden down the line. And he saw that Yosef Mishisai, a Yid that was a traitor, shebetraitor, a traitor, shebetraitor, had nothing to gain by not going in the second time to the Beis Hamikdash. And he said, no, I'm not going to do this. The last moment, what happened? He let himself, he went on Mesiras Nefesh. When Yitzchak Avinu saw such a man, and he said, now I'm going to give you a bracha. I'm going to kiss you because of the boigdim, because of the traitors in the community. The grace of tzaddikim we know about, but look at even the traitors at the bottom line have Mesiras Nefesh. This, my friends, is a perfect example of what the Rebbe writes today in a Yom Yom, based on a Farbrengen of the Frierdiker Rebbe that took place in Tavshin Aleph on Pesach Sheni. The Frierdiker Rebbe, you could imagine, was sitting in the United States of America. He was already not well when he came here. And it was Pesach Sheni in 1941. What was the world? What was the Jewish world in 1941? Do I have to explain to you what the world was in 1941? Even if you're not a historian, even if you're not a Holocaust survivor's kid like myself and Rabbi Tenras, do I have to tell you what the world was like in 1941? The Frierdiker was in New York and he was for bringing Pesach Sheni. and he said to the Olam such, he said, there's a bewusste word, there's a well-known word that goes around Chassidim, that there are three shenis, Nefesh HaSheni, the second neshama that we have, which was megala to us, which was revealed to us by the Alter Rebbe in Tanya. Okay, that's the Nefesh HaShenis. The second one is a Chabadnitzer, the second little room. Every Chabad shul had a little room that you could go into. It was called a Cheder Sheni, the Cheder Sheni. Who was the Cheder Sheni? The Friedrich Rebbe says the Cheder Sheni is for people, Balabatim. It's not for the Rabbanim, it's not for the Talmidei Chachamim, it's for the Balabatim on Shabbos when they wanted to daven. And the third, he said, and this is where we come in today, is Pesach Sheni. And what is Pesach Sheni? Pesach Sheni means that Kemel Nishva Loren. No one is ever lost. Even a guy like Yosef Mishisai, even a Baigid, even a traitor, he's not lost it at the very last moment. And the Friedrich Rebbe goes on to say, like it says in Yom Yom today, he says, you know what, even if you're a Tameh, and if you're on a Derech Rechaika, and even then he adds a third idea, even Lachem, even if it was you were the one that caused this. It wasn't outside circumstances. You were the one that caused that. Even then, it's nishtaken verfallen. There is nothing that holds anybody back. No one is ever lost. Now, many people tend to think of Pesach Sheni like a throwaway. All right, listen, for Pesach, we work hard, we clean, we have to store him, we dress fine, we do everything. It's great. So Pesach Sheni, that's already a throwaway. It comes 30 days. What do we do already on Pesach Sheni? What are we going to do? We're going to eat some matzah that was left over from Pesach, and then that's it. Okay, fine. But it's wonderful, right? So people don't give it the regard that it deserves. I believe in my heart of hearts that Pesach Sheni, the idea that the Friedrich Rebbe was expressing that Farbrengen many years ago, is at the heart of what we are all about, Chabad. It is not a throwaway. It's not a secondary thing. It's not okay because a few people were tummy in the midbar. So Moshe Rabbeinu Hashem said, okay, bring this. No. This lies at the heart of what Chabad is. If it's not the most important yontif in the Chabad calendar, of course not. It's never going to be. The idea of what Pesach Sheni is everything that Chabad stands for. Everything that we are doing is all based upon this one idea that that no one is ever left behind. You take any Farbrengen that the Rebbe said, starting from the first very Farbrengen, where the Rebbe said, "Megeit einem in the Welt," whether it's through Limud Torah, whether it's through mitzvahs, whether it's through Gemilas Chasadim, anyway, Megeit einem in the Welt. And who was the Rebbe talking to over there? If anybody was there at the first Farbrengen saw this is an army. This is a ragtag army, not an army. It's a ragtag army. A few American chocolatnikis, a few Holocaust survivors, a few guys with no beards. And here's a young man. Okay, he took the position. He's sitting and he's dreaming. All young people dream. But most people in that room says, you know what, he'll calm down. Don't worry, he's excited. It's his first year. It's like a rookie. The rookie comes in, he brings everybody lunch. He does everything that you have to do. So he's a rookie. You know what? He's thinking big. Good. We need a guy to think big. But with us, he's gonna win this war. He's gonna take over the world, whatever. And that young man that was sitting over there never veered from the path that he started. All because why? All because he understood that he was put into that position. The Rebbe could have had a nice, quiet life. He was a very educated man. He had a job. He could have lived out very nicely with the Rebbetzin. He loved to learn. He was Bechlal. He was a very private person. But he understood that his job given to him by the Friedrich Rebbe was to go out there and look for the Pesach Shenis, to look for those guys that need the Pesach Sheni. And from that very first Farbrengen that the Rebbe started out, what was the Matara? What was the Matara? The Matara was that we are going to bring the beauty of Yiddishkeit to the entire world. We're going to bring the beauty of Hasidus, the same way that the Alter Rebbe fought tooth and nail, to bring the Tyrus of the Maggid and the Tyrus of the Baal Shem Tov out to the world, even putting his life in danger. The same way the Rebbe, Baruch Hashem, didn't have to put his life in danger, but fought for the very same ideals, the very, very same ideals that all the Rebbeim fought for: new land, and new challenges. But to those challenges, he looked at everyone in that room and said, this is what's going to happen. This is why we are here. Pesach Sheni means that even in America, where most of the people are lachemniks, why? Because it's not outside circumstances that is driving people away from Yiddishkeit. Who's forcing you not to do? This is not the Spanish Inquisition. This is not times of Khmelnytsky. These are times in America where people have choices. They have choices. Yes. You know what? I could be Jewish. I could not be Jewish. I can go to shul. I could not go to shul. I could learn Hasidus. I could not learn Hasidus. This is in everybody's purview, every American Jew. And not only about American Jews, but we're talking about secular. We're talking about Frumme too. Frumme who were sending their children not to day schools, and Frumme that were not sending the kids to yeshivas, etc., etc. And the Rebbe saw this. And the Rebbe knew that what are we going to do? What is going to be our stand? Our stand is one point clear: to bring the Tyrus of the Frierdiker Rebbe, which of course are based on all the Rebbeim, to this country. And from this country will spread throughout the entire world, to Australia and to Italy and to all the other places. And what was it? It was the idea that what is a chassid? When someone asked the Rebbe Rashab, what is a chassid? The Rebbe Rashab answered, he's a lamplighter. A lamplighter, meaning what? What does that mean? That means that every single Yid that's walking around in the world, every Yid, regardless of how from they are, how long their beard is, how many pairs of tefillin they wear, or how many pairs of tefillin they don't wear, how many pairs of shoes they don't go, how many shoes they don't go to. Every single Yid has that spark from Yosef Meshisai, from that Yosef that stood in front of the Beis Hamikdash. And the Rebbe Rashab says, our job is to activate that spark. Our job is to go with the fire of Hasidus to every single Yid. Every single Yid has that spark. We don't give up on anybody. And our job is to flick that switch. How do you flick that switch? So the Rebbe has explained over many Farbrengens. You flick that switch either by teaching a mimer, getting together a community like Rabbi Tenenhaus's beautiful community, learning Maimarim, or whether you're in a secular community and you have to teach Aleph Beis, or whether, no matter what, those are the methods of flipping the switch. Why? Because the Nishtakin Farfallen. Nobody is ever lost. And the Rebbe understood that, and we as Chassidim accepted it and accepted the challenge of the Rebbe to go out there and to live every single day like it's Pesach Sheni. Not once a year to remember, but every single day to know that not only for us, that we have to do it the best that we can, but we have to go out there and reach another Yid. And if we want to feel perfection, if we want to feel great, that means we have to be able to touch another Yid and flip that switch, to be activists, not to sit home. When people were complaining, Rebbe, you know what? I'm learning Gemara. I'm in the middle of a tough sugya in Yavamis, and you want me to do what? You want me to close the Gemara and go out? And Rebbe said, yes, clearly. I mean, this is unheard of. Whoever thought of such a thing? Close your Gemara, forget about this, and I want you to go out there and I want you to touch another Yid, to reach another Yid. Because by reaching another Yid, that Taisus in Yavamis that you don't even understand, and you can never understand. It's interesting that the Frierdiker Rebbe in that Farbrengen, when he talked about what the Alter Rebbe was Megala, he says it's only Megala. He said the Alter Rebbe didn't make any Chidushim. No one makes Chidushim. He says any Talmud Chacham that says, I made a Chiddush, Kfirah, was for a Chiddush. Moshe Rabbeinu was Mechadish everything. The Alter Rebbe was Megala to us Soidus. Every Rebbe was Megala to us Soidus. So here the Rebbe is asking us to go out there and forgive what we love to do, learn, be with our family, and to go out and to be activists and to flip that switch of every Yid. Because he believed that every day, every single opportunity, this is what Pesach Sheni is all about. This is what it means that this Nishtakin Farfallen, that no Jew, don't give me excuses that, they're too smart, they're too secular. It doesn't matter. The Rebbe never accepted excuses. The Rebbe said, and even when you were victorious, even when you were able to do something and you said, hey, Rebbe, look at me, I built a mikveh. What was his response? I'm waiting. Oh, I'm okay. His response was, where's the day school? Where's the cheder? Where's this? He was always pushing. Why? Because the Rebbe sitting in his office in 770 in that room, in that Yechidus room upstairs, he saw the entire world. And as dollars went by, every person that he saw that switch inside their heart. We don't. We like to sit back. You know what? If the guy he's easy, we'll put tefillin. If it's hard, won't put tefillin. What is do I not sleep at night because there are people here that don't put on tefillin in Long Beach, California? I wish I could tell you that, but I do. I do go to sleep, and I sleep soundly, even when there are people in Long Beach that haven't put on tefillin. But to the Rebbe, this was not a choice. This was not a matter for everybody. And I'm not talking about only shluchim. I mean, in 770, when he was pushing the agenda, he was pushing it for everybody. It wasn't only for the shluchim, men, women, children, women. To have to go into how the Rebbe spoke about women. He was what do you call that? A woman's liber way before the women even thought about women's liber. He empowered women early on. The Sheikh Chabad was one of the first organizations to start, and the Rebbe empowered the women to do what they had to do, albeit in a manner of tznius and in Api Shulchan Aruch. Of course, he was a from a Yid, the Rebbe, but he saw that this idea of Snishtokin Farfallen, that's first and foremost. Never tell me that you can't do it. Never tell me the man is lost. There's no such thing as being lost. It's tough. It's hard. Some are easier. Yes, some people are easier. You go to them, you want to learn a mimer. They're ready to learn a mimer. They're ready to do something. Okay, so it's easy. You flip the switch on them. Others are resistant. They're hard. They don't. You want to learn, sir? No. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I know a famous rabbi that got into a gvir. Okay, it was very hard to get into a gvir. Very, very difficult. He was a very ridiculous gvir, and it was hard to get into. But he's a shliach, and he had a lot of temerity. And he pushed, and he was a nudnik. I know him very well. A nudnik, the guy, and he finally got in for a meeting. The meeting lasted 18 seconds. The shliach walked in. He looked at the gvir. He said, "Would you like to learn?" The gvir said, "No, thank you," and that was it. End of discussion. Okay, but at least the shliach could say that he met the gvir. At least he had the meeting with him. All right, so this was a tough case. But the Rebbe was all about tough cases. It didn't matter to him, tough cases. He took on the biggest challenges in the world. The Rebbe took on for Yiddishkeit, because it was Pesach Sheni every single day. Every day in his life, he understood Pesach Sheni Nishtakin Farfallen. I had a Yid recently. It's dark times right now. I mean, look what we're relegated to. Okay, we're relegated that I have to come on to Rabbi Morty, a kid that grew up here, with a father that didn't know about Zoom. A grandfather was a Holocaust survivor, and he has to set up this thing, and I have to speak to you through this, and it's not my style. It's not my style. And all of a sudden, shluchim became big experts. Facebook, Twitter, Schmitter, all the other platforms. We're living in a tough times, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very tough times. But in the tough times, there are little nuggets, little pieces of nuggets that come out that are even sometimes brighter than when we were in the normal times. I have a Yid in our shul. His name is Abba. I remember him very clearly. Why? Because my name is Abba. It's an uncommon name. It's not a name that I'm telling you, name your children. It's not a good name to have. I'm honest with you. My kids were very confused growing up. What is it? Abba, father, who are you? You're our father, the father of the community. People thought I was running a cult. Everybody's calling me Abba. They thought I'm some kind of a guru. It's not a good name. So when another guy has a name Abba, we have a little bit of a connection. I've always tried to get Abba a little closer, and he came and he didn't come, he came and he didn't come. And then all of a sudden, Corona hit. Abba's isolated, I'm isolated, and Abba gives me a call. He says, "Rabbi, I need tefillin. I know we've been talking, and I know I need tefillin." And I say to him, "Abba, Pesach is coming." He says, "I don't care. Please get me the tefillin." And immediately, this is the easy part, within 15 minutes, he had paid for the tefillin online, paid for them already. So I called up our friend Moshe Klein and said, then speak to him, one of the workers. I said, "Please get me tefillin." He automatically sent out overnight tefillin. I got the tefillin Chol Hamoed. I called up Abba. I have to tell you that I did put on tefillin with him on Chol Hamoed, okay? And I just for training purposes, chas v'sholem, not that he should put on tefillin chalamoid. I don't want to get the reputation that Perelmuter puts on tefillin chalamoid and with his balabatim chas v'sholem, but for training purposes. And I cannot swear if he did not put on tefillin Shvi Shal Pesach and Achron Shal Pesach. He was so excited with the tefillin, so excited that it reminded me of when I first put on tefillin on a cold January day in Montreal when it was freezing. My father took me, my hat was like this, and I put on tefillin, and it was very, very exciting. Why? All of a sudden, that little spark in Abba's heart, this brought him to the realization that he needs the tefillin, and when that spark is burning, forget about it. There's no stopping. He calls me up. I need the tefillin now, and now came the tefillin. And Baruch Hashem, I've been in touch with him. He's putting on his tefillin, and hopefully that maybe this is the last guy that needed to buy tefillin for the Yeshua to come. You let be it. Kahena v'kahena. More and more and more we see that people. When you talk to them, the Rebbe promised dvar mayotzim min halev, words that come out from the heart, nichnosim el halev. And this is the critical part of what we're celebrating tonight. That that we are not lost, and out there no one is lost. Everybody there needs to be reached, and that is our job. Baruch Hashem, Ashreinu matayv chalkeinu. It's wonderful that we ended up in this world, because there's no reason why we should be in this world. I look around the faces on the Zoom and I see some friends from Montreal. And Montreal was a community that was made by people that had no reason to be in Chabad. No reason to be in Chabad. Not the 9 guys that came. They were not brought up Chabad. Not most people in the shul. There were a few Russians, that came, Perelmuter and a few others that learned in Lubavitch. But for most of the community in Montreal, they captured us. They tricked my father. They said it's a good yeshiva. But my father did not know that they're going to kidnap me. They're going to kidnap me. Okay? This is not only a yeshiva for learning. No, this is a yeshiva for making soldiers. You walk in like a kid and you walk out with a black hat and a coat and ready to go to war for the Rebbe. My father didn't know this, and most of the fathers didn't know this. So what shaykhs do I have? But the Rebbe saw, Montreal gave a special bracha for the people in Montreal, and that yeshiva. And Rabbi Kramer, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, what he did, for the community in building up hundreds and hundreds of families. For what? So that we ourselves should go out into the world, be activists, and flip the switches of the people that we saw. The Rebbe of Farbrengen in 1962, when the yeshiva was dedicated, I saw recently, said, I want to share some good news, 3 pieces of good news at that Farbrengen. One was a Malava Malkinist. He said, the best piece of news is tomorrow morning in Montreal, they're dedicating a brand new building. Rabbi Kramer had been able to build a building before anybody else in the United States of America, before the Rashag, before Baron Kotler. He put up a building. And from that building, hundreds of shluchim around the world are doing what? Are flipping the switch of the Yidden. Flipping that switch. Activate them. Be the lamplighters of those people. And that's all based on what? On the idea of what the Friedrich Rebbe wrote, Tov Shin Aleph, that Pesach Sheni, no one is lost. La Yidach Mimenu Nidach. Nobody is lost. How far does this go? When he was saying this, people were laughing. People said, the Friedrich Rebbe moved into Crown Heights, and the Friedrich Rebbe writes, people cannot sleep because there's a Yid with a beard just moved into Crown Heights. Okay? This was the welcome that he got to Crown Heights. The fancy Jewish center was one of the most respectable conservative temples there. And all of a sudden, a Yid with a beard moved into Crown Heights. But you know what? Emes prevails. Truth prevails. And because of the Mesiras Nefesh of the Friedrich Rebbe, and of course the Mesiras Nefesh of the Rebbe, they were able to prevail first on their Hasidim and then on the rest of the world. First on the Hasidim and then on the rest of the world, that la yidach mimenu nidach nishtok kein farfalin, that everybody has the ability to come out. Everybody has the ability to come back to Yiddishkeit. All you need to do is trust in yourself. How far does this go? How far was the Rebbe successful? I'll tell you how far the Rebbe was successful. In this town where I live, Long Beach, California, the greatest Shisers, the big temple here is a Reformed temple, Temple Israel. Until last year, there was a Rabbi Moskowitz was here. Fine fellow. I got along with him very well. And one day last year, he called me up. He said, Rabbi, I'd like to meet with you. We met. and he says to me this. I want you to listen closely to this. He says to me, Rabbi, I need you to tell me where I can buy tefillin in LA. I look at him, Rabbi Moskowitz, my high. He says, not for me. I have tefillin. But he's starting a tefillin group. Okay? You understand that? That in Reformed Temple Israel, Rabbi Moskowitz was buying tefillin to start a tefillin group in Temple Israel, a Reformed Temple, where years ago, you had to take off your yarmulke to go in. They wouldn't let you come in with a yarmulke. That's what this Temple Israel was. And here was a rabbi that was buying tefillin to start a tefillin club. So when I talk about Pesach Sheni, when I say to you that the Frierdiker Rebbe was sitting in 1941 in Tavshin Aleph in Brooklyn, New York, and talking about Snishtaken Verfallen, who was he thinking about? The Jews in Long Beach, California. That's who he was talking about. He was talking about a rabbi, a Reform rabbi, that's going to call up a Lubavitcher Rav. I take it back. Scratch that, not a Lubav. As Nishken Rav, as a Rav, as Nishken Rav, and not a rabbi, a Lubavitcher rabbi. Okay? He called up the Lubavitcher rabbi and said to the Lubavitcher rabbi, I want to buy tefillin. I want to buy tefillin for my congregation to start a tefillin club. Do I have to impress upon you the absolute importance of this day? The absolute importance. It doesn't take much in the Torah. It's a few psukim. It's a throwaway. It's nothing. Guy reads through it. Goodbye. In our lives, what's Pesach Sheni? Another day. Yeah, you don't even celebrate it. You go to work. You do everything. Thank God you don't have to clean. Eat a piece of matzah and goodbye. See it later. But where we come from, where Lubavitchers come from, starting from the Alter Rebbe, the Admor HaGadol, the great Alter Rebbe, that gave on Mesiras Nefesh for another Yid, that understood that, you know why he came down? Was a Neshama Chadasha. He was a new soul. And the reason why Hashem gave a new soul to the world was simply because we needed it. At that particular moment, the world was shaking. Who knows what could have happened? I gave a lecture just recently on Napoleon and the Alter Rebbe, and how the Alter Rebbe fought tooth and nail against Napoleon when everybody else was saying to him, Rebbe, look, he's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He opened up for French Jewry. He gave them all rights. It's going to be great. We can't wait for Napoleon to come. And the Alter Rebbe fought tooth and nail. He even woke up early to blow the shofar. We know the whole story noting the story over there. Why? Because the Alter Rebbe knew that every Yid is driven by his neshama. Maybe it'll be a little easier begashmius, but beruchnius. And that's where we come from. That's what Chabad stands for. That no Yid will ever be left behind. It's the Israeli army's motto. No one is ever going to be left behind. They'll pay 1,000 people for Rahman al-Itzlan, for someone that passes away. And we will never leave anyone. Why? Because we are following the dictates of our Rebbeim that showed us that Pesach Sheni is not a throwaway. Pesach Sheni is not a secondary thing that we thought about. No. That Pesach Sheni is essential to our goal and our motto and the matara for what we stand for. That nobody, never look at anybody as if they are not salvable. Everybody is salvable and everybody can be brought closer. And that, my friends, is what Pesach Sheni is about. Let's say L'chaim. L'chaim, everyone. Say another L'chaim. Over there, on upon him, please. On upon him. Please, if you don't mind, on upon him. Rabbi Tenenhaus. Rabbi Rosenberg, on upon him, please. Okay. So where Rabbi Rosenberg? I don't see your L'chaim yet. Okay. L'chaim. What are you drinking? White wine? Rabbi Tenenhaus, white wine he's drinking. 30 some odd years ago, Rabbi Shlomo Kunyan, who was the regional director of Chabad in California and Nevada, and he's a very powerful individual, very powerful personality. I'm only going to talk nice things because he's my boss. So I have to say nice thing. I don't know who's online over here. Could be a relative, a son-in-law, who knows. 32 years ago, Rabbi Kunin was in dire straits, was $20 million in debt. You know what $20 million in debt to a rabbi means? I mean, I can't even say the word 20 million without swallowing a few times. $20 million he was in debt. The whole town was after him. The whole town. Everywhere he went, Kunyan, where's my money? Kunyan, where's my money? He couldn't walk out of his house. I once asked him, interestingly, after the story, which I'm going to tell, if during that dark period, did he ever think about, he has his office on the 5th story of the Chabad in Westwood, jumping out the window? So Rabbi Kunin said, suicide? Never. Homicide? Every day. Every day? Why should I kill myself? Somebody else? Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. So this man is in dire straits, doesn't know who to turn to. So one day he called up Rabbi Chadakov, chief secretary of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and said, Rabbi Chadakov, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Where is the Yeshua coming from? Tell me, help me. I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, he hears another phone being picked up. Now, the other phone being picked up was not Benjamin Klein or Label Groner or Yudel Krinsky. The other phone that was being picked up was the Rebbe was listening in on the conversation. And then Rabbi Kunin was literally broken. He was telling him, maybe I should go to this Gvir. He heard, maybe I should go to this. Maybe I should, And everything he suggested, And then all of a sudden, Ruach came over him. And he said like this, Ich hab zwei gesunde Fies, ich hab a Reis gehen, and ich hab proven gefunden the nest. So for those that don't speak the Mama Lashon, Rabbi Kunin said, I have 2 healthy feet. I'm going to walk the streets and I'll find the nest. And the Rebbe went, That's what it is. He walked out, and a few weeks later, or a very, very short time later, he found this lady, Hermine Weinberg, and she left him $21 million in her will. $21 million. This is a miracle, Sheba miracle. He only knew it for a short period of time. The Rebbe was very involved in the case, and the Rebbe told him, don't settle. And he made $21 million, and he paid Netzach Sheba Netzach. It happened Netzach Sheba Netzach. Rabbi Kunin is often fond of saying that what was it? He gave so many different examples what he was going to do. Go to this? No. Walk the streets. What is this? I believe that this was the methodology that the Rebbe tried to implant in everybody. That what was it? The idea of koyach hatzmi. It comes from you. You have within yourself the power to go out there and to make things happen. Why do I mention this? Because there's a very, very, very small detail in the story of Pesach Sheni that I used to gloss over. But when thinking about this, it hit me. I don't know. This is my own thoughts. But what happened when Moshe Rabbeinu said that, you know what, let's make the second Korban Pesach. This is the first one in the Midbar. This is the only one the Yidden are going to bring in the Midbar. And then, you know what? But only people that are Tahor. So what happens? So it says that there were some people that were Rahman al-Islam, Tameh. They were Tameh for whatever reason. And the Mefarshim tried to figure out who was Tameh and how did they get Tameh. They come to the conclusion that it was a mes mitzvah. They became Tameh through a mes mitzvah. Okay, fine. They came to him, and these are the critical words. Vayikrevu v'nei Moshe v'nei Aaron b'yemahu. And the word Vayikrevu means what? What does Vayikrevu mean? It means that they themselves came and approached Moshe and Aaron. And then they said to them their taina. What was the taina? The taina was that we are Tameh, and we became Tameh through a mitzvah. It wasn't that we became Tameh through something else, a mes mitzvah. Lama nigara. Lama nigara. Why do we have to be separated from everybody else? Why not? To me, the key is the words Vayikrevu. That they went ahead and they didn't sit idly by. Think about this. Moshe Rabbeinu was the ultimate Ohev Yisrael, right? It was the ultimate Ohev Yisrael. Why did Hashem pick him to become the leader of leaders? Why did he make him Moshe Rabbeinu? He was living very, very happily, in Midian. He had a nice business. He was a shepherd. He liked being a shepherd because he was a Talmud Chacham and he liked learning. He didn't want to be bothered. Perfect job. He had a beautiful wife. He had a son. Well, what did he need this? And Hashem comes to him and says, no, you're going to be the one. Go send Aaron. He has street credibility. I'm a philosopher. I'm a Talmud Chacham. He says, no. Why you? Because you know what Abbas Yisrael means. So we know the whole story that he ran after the sheep. So Moshe Rabbeinu is the ultimate eye of Yisrael. And he gives the mitzvah to bring the Korban Pesach in the Midbar. And he sees among the Bnei Yisrael, there's a few disappointed people that are tummy, can bring the Korban. So you would think, what you would think that Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaGadol, come on, Aaron HaKoyin, who was Ayiv Shalom, Bereid of Shalom, would see the people and they're disappointed. You would say to yourself, what a Rav. A Rav will go over to this enchanted, Balabatim. The Balabatim are not so happy. And they say to them, Mitzad Avos Yisrael, not because of anything else. We see that you're so disappointed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to intervene on the Rabbi. He knows God's address and he knows his phone number because he dialed it a number of times already. So he knows already how to get a hold of the Rabbi Shalom. So Mitzad Avos Yisrael, he should have gone to the people that were tummy. See how terribly disappointed they are. Can you imagine the whole town is eating a delicious lamb sandwich with murder and roasted lamb. Rabbi Tenanos, where's the refreshments? No refreshments. Where's Rabbi Schwartz? Is Rabbi Schwartz on the call? No, he's not here. Okay, fine. All right. So everybody in town is eating a delicious sandwich. These 4 guys or 10 guys, they never have to sit and eat carrots. Okay? So Mitzad Avos Yisrael, you would think that Moshe Rabbeinu would go over to them and say to them, listen, I'm going to intervene on your behalf. I know we're in the Midbar, but I know God, and he's a very, very nice person, God. And then he didn't do that. What did he do? He waited. Vayikravu. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu had Ruach HaKodesh, and he knew there's going to be a Pesach Sheni, but he did not intervene. Why? Because in my estimation, is he needed those people to come forward. He needed that activism of the people that were tummy to really show a tshuka, that they really, really wanted this, they needed this. Because when someone does something out of their own volition, it is so much stronger than you give them a matana. Right? The Gemara says, a man is much more willing to take one measure of hard work than if someone gives him 9 measures of a gift. Money earned is so much more pleasurable than money given. We can debate that, but at least let's go with the flow. That they needed to come to Moshe Rabbeinu vayikrevu. That they themselves went to Moshe Rabbeinu and they said to him, Lo manigara. Why do we have to be diminished? We're not bad people. We're good people. We try to do everything we can. Imagine the circumstances today. Imagine today, if we are given an opportunity to bring a Korban Pesach. Right now, Mashiach is here, bring a Korban Pesach. So first of all, you can go into the Shakel V'Tarya because most of us are Tamei anyway, so you can anyways bring a Korban Pesach. You don't have to go through the whole process of Tum and Tara. Okay, but let's say we don't do that. You know who would be excluded today? The doctors, the frontline doctors that are working in the hospital, saving the patients from corona, okay? The frontliners that we are applauding every single day, the nurses, these would be the people that could not bring the Korban Pesach. The guy that sat at home, quarantined, he's going to eat the lamb sandwich. He's going to get the roasted lamb. But the doctor in the hospital that was sitting over there till Erev Pesach, till after Bein Arbayim, that he couldn't leave the hospital because there was Chas v'Sholem B'Koach Nefesh. No, he can't get it. He can't do the Korban Pesach. Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu needed these people to come to him and say Lama Nigora, because from the essence of a Yid soul, everybody cries at Lama Nigora. Why should we be different? Why do we have to be different? And this is something I think also, besides what the Rebbe stressed the idea of flipping the switch, he stressed the idea of Kayach Atzmai. That in the first Farbrengen, the Rebbe said, hey, boys and girls, I am going to tell you something. I am going to be here for you. I will be here. I'll light the way. I'll be the lamplighter. I'll be the flashlight that you need. But don't think for a second. Don't think for a second that I'm going to do everything for you. No, this is not going to work this way. This is not kind of a Rebbe where, you come and you give him a kvittel, he takes care of everything. No. You're going to do your part. I'm there to help. And I will help. And we know what the Rebbe helped. The Rebbe continues to help today. The brachas of the Rebbe come down even today. But the Rebbe needed us to understand, shlach lecha. Shlach lecha. Rabbi Shalom tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you want to send? Shlach lecha. You need to go and to send out the spies. It has to be you. You have to do it on your own volition. The koyach atzmai has to come from within each and every one of us, that we should not feel intimidated. We have to cry each day, Lama Nigara. Lama Nigara. Why do we have to suffer? I'm a good guy. I need that, because we are all endowed with this. We are all endowed with the strength, with the courage, with the koyach. There is the famous story we talk about Abba Yosef Meshisai. The famous. The Alter Rebbe brings it down for the ultimate Tshuva law. Who does he bring for the Tshuva law? Rebbe Lazar ben Dernoi. Who was Rebbe Lazar ben Dernoi? Oh, he brings him down in the Tanya, but many people don't bother to look up. Who was this Rebbe Lazar ben Dernoi? What great tzaddik was this guy? Who this great tzaddik was this guy? If you go look in the Gemara, see his story, that this was a man that committed sin after sin. Sin after sin after sin after sin. It says there was no woman of ill repute that he did not visit. Imagine, no woman. And finally he heard about this woman, and he went and he traveled, and he went there, and she told him that, you will never be able to do tshuva. You are finished. When he heard that, he went out and begged and pleaded for someone to help him. He begged the skies, and he begged the earth, and he begged the malachim, and he begged the mazolis. And everyone said no. Till he found out the only one that could help me is me. I'm the only one that could help myself. This is the Rebbe Lazar ben Dernoi that the Alter Rebbe brings down in Tanya as an example of tshuva law. Then of course he cried, and he passed away from the guilt or whatever it is. He passed away. He was kind of he got us in shah achas. What does the Gemara say? So there's a lot of ways to look at this. On one hand, you say, you know what? Okay, the guy, the Gemara wants to bring down why he died. What? Shakal V'Tarya, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, here's a man that was a sinner. The Gemara brings him down as a sinner. But then he came to the realization that there's no one to help him. There's no one out there to help him. No one. Who has to help him? Me. I have to help myself. There's no one else that's going to do it for me except me. And that's, I think, another critical part of what the Rebbe tried to establish within each and every one of us, is that idea of you, of believing in yourself, of the idea of empowerment, of going out there. Me and the who am I? Who am I and what am I? I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing. I'm a guy that comes from a small town, Montreal, Holocaust survivor's kid, thinks of himself that now he's the mayor of Long Beach, or there's a big shliach. I know Rabbi Tenas thinks that he's the ganze Mankal from South Broward. There's a few machlokes, but nonetheless, for tonight's meeting, we'll allow him to be the Mankal of South Broward, and even if Yossi Bisson is not on, of North Broward also, we won't tell anybody. He thinks of himself that he owns the whole town, the ganze shtetl. Rabbi Kunin, I could guarantee you, believes that he is definitely the governor of California. This is less man de polig. No one is going to argue this. And this is what the Shluchim think, that, in a town, I am the boss. I run this show here, and everything that happens through my hand. Then, whatever the laws of the state, what's the state? The state, the shmeit. No. This is, how do we get to this? How do we get to this situation? Shlach lecha. Because the Rebbe gave us the power to think that we are in charge. And if you look at throughout history of Judaism, we saw this idea of koyach atzmai, of empowering people, was one of the strongest gifts that Judaism brought into the world. That we allow people, not we're going to be saved and this and that. No. You are going to do it on your own. You and only you have a direct line to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Nobody else can do it. There's 7 billion people. Ain't the same Shabbos, same parts of saying Shabbos. They don't look alike. They don't think alike. There's nothing alike about them at all. Every one of them has a protisdika destiny. Everyone has a particular destiny that he or she has to do. And no one can do it for them. Nobody can do that for them. And this is what the Rebbe said at the first Farbrengen, that I'm giving it, we're doing it together. And we know, remember the Chav Ches Nissen Farbrengen, the way the Rebbe was crying and said, Tut als was you can't, carry Welt. So we thought that if the Lubavitch Rebbe can do it, let's be honest, if the Lubavitch Rebbe can do it, who's going to do it? Who could do it? The Lubavitch Rebbe can do it. Forget about it. People were stunned. We didn't know what. Okay, the Rebbe explained the next Shabbos what he meant, which to learn and about Mashiach and Gulen, etc., and do everything. But the Rebbe's point was, again, he was very, very, very consistent that, you know what, you can do it. When Shluchim used to write in, or people used to write in, it's too hard, Rebbe, keep pushing along, push along, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. You know what, Iris the Tayu, the Kalim the Tikkun, you got to make Kalim the Tikkun, then you can sometimes jump. But all in all, it was all about the Koyach Atzmai, empowering every single one of us individually to do the best that we can possibly do. The Eibishter never puts anything more than he can on somebody's shoulders. And if the Rebbe said that we can be both Hasidim and learn Hasidus and daven b'avoid and do all of these things, we can. We happen to pick and choose those things which we are more likely to go. To ask Rabbi Yael Khan to go out there and be a full-time shliach and to run around, in Corpus Christi, Texas, it's not his bag. That's not what he came down to the world to do. Rabbi Yael Khan is dedicated to putting out the Rebbe's Torah to the world. That's what he has to do. We are shluchim like us. We're here running around looking for Yidden to flip the switch. But it has to be that when you can realize and make them realize that not only are you helping them, but they are helping themselves, that they want to truly do this. Because today we have free choice, ladies and gentlemen. You go to a Yid and ask him to put on tefillin, he doesn't want to put on tefillin, and you force him to. That's called assault in America. And and sometimes we've been accused of doing that, grabbing a guy's arm and assaulting him. All right? But when you explain to him that you're doing him the favor, many times he understands that. He gets that. And you know what? And you empower them to keep going. This idea of allowing people to do themselves is such, today's psychologists will tell you over and over and over again, this whole idea of empowerment. But this was the Rebbe's ideal. This was the Torah's ideal, to allow us, the B'nai Yisrael, every single Yid, to do the best that they can possibly do on their own volition. You start talking about stories. To me, the most impressive stories are not, and I have to be honest with you, are not the miracles. They're not the miracles. Why? Because they tell us that the Rebbe could make a nest. Of course you can make a nest. He's a tzaddik, he can make a nest. The most impressive stories that I find with the Rebbe was the humanity that the Rebbe showed to those people that that we would throw away, that we wouldn't even give a look to. That the Rebbe cared about every single individual person, the individual stories that people came to the Rebbe and cried for the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gave him time, just like we saw in the video about his brother. Now you could say, you know what, look, it was the Rebbe's brother who obviously was put in time and effort, but his brother was gone. His mother was gone already. What interest did he have? There was a mathematical paper. The Rebbe even said that this is not my field. If you know the story, the backstory, he told Rabbi, Dr. Rosenberg, this is not my field. The Rebbe was an engineer, but this is not my field. So what? Nobody cared. He cared about every single person for them to be able to express themselves and be the best that they could possibly be. There's a famous story with Theodore Bickel. Theodore Bickel, a very famous actor, in Hollywood, and he big shot. And in the 1970s, he was going from New York to the Statue of Liberty because he was going to participate in a rally to free Soviet Jewry. Okay, so he's on the Staten Island ferry. Here's Mr. Theodore Bickel, he's sitting over there on the seat, and he's whatever he's doing. And two Lubavitcher Bachrim approach him and say to him, "Excuse me, sir, did you put on tefillin today?" And his first thought was, you know what? He tells them, "You must be Lubavitchers." So they said, "How do you know? How could you tell? Maybe it's the blood pinches." No, he says, because nobody else would have the audacity and the chutzpah to come up to me while I'm sitting here on a Staten Island ferry, going to speak at a rally, no one would have the chutzpah to come up and ask me to put on tefillin. You must be Lubavitchers. They said, yes, we are Lubavitchers, and now we need your arm. And because of the audacity of these bachim, they didn't know what Theda, Shmekel, who knew what Mekel and Shmekel? They put on tefillin on the guy, but when it came back, they told the story. Obviously, the story got around, whether he told it or the bachim told it. But where do you get such chutzpah? Who has such chutzpah to go on a Staten Island, on a ferry? Man is minding his own business. He has nothing to do with you. He doesn't want to have anything to do with you. He's not a shimer, as we say. He's not a shimer, okay? He's not. He made a choice. He's not putting on tefillin. He doesn't want to put on tefillin. And he's sitting quietly. And these two young guys, 17, 18-year-old guys, maybe not even Americans, who could be, or if they were Americans, maybe they went to Alei Torah, which makes them half Americans with their English. Okay, so that with their Alei Torah English, they impressed upon this guy because they were honest and they saw. But where did they get such chutzpah from? They get such chutzpah because of the Rebbe, because the Rebbe injected us, literally injected us with this DNA of Koyach Atzmai, that you can do it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to go out there and to do it. This is where we get our strength from. This is what Pesach Sheni again is. Pesach Sheni would not have happened if these people, these Tamei Mes, went ahead and intervened with Moshe Rabbeinu and took the initiative to go and to ask him Lama Nigara. Who knows what could have happened? Maybe we would have never had a Pesach Sheni and goodbye. And the same thing is true for the B'nai Slavchad. The B'nai Slavchad also say Lama Nigara. Why? Why should we suffer? Why? Our father was not a bad guy. Why should we suffer? Because again, they took the initiative. They went ahead and they had the chutzpah, the audacity to go to Moshe Rabbeinu. Think about it. Could you imagine? You have to go. You have a personal problem to go to the Rebbe. You would have the guts to go in and start saying Lama Nigara, Lama Nigara. Shlomo Kunyan, yes. A few others, yes. But Lama Nigara. But when it's negayet to the nefesh, when it's negayet to you and your guts, you don't care about anything. It's Lama Nigara. I remember myself that one time when I was at the Hebrew Academy, we were having tremendous money problems. Tremendous money problems. You know, not 20 million. And this is not going to be a miracle story for 20 million. But I didn't know what to do. And it was a Kinnis HaShluchim. And I said to myself, I have to ask the Rebbe for bracha. I just have to. Writing in itself is not enough. And I don't know where I got the guts, because this is a chutzpah. I mean, a terrible inconvenience. A lot of people waiting. But I was down and out. And I went over to the Rebbe and I said, the matzav is you know. The Rebbe looked at me, gave me another $1 and said, make sure there's a pushka in every classroom. Make sure there's a pushka in every classroom. I thought to myself, where did I get the chutzpah to do it? Because it was negate to my stomach. It was killing me. So when it's killing me, then all of a sudden the koyach atzmai rises up, the chutzpah rises up, and you're able to do it. You know, we all know the famous story for Vassar. Why didn't he faint? Because it wasn't, you know, when the guy read this letter of the guy, the farmer's father who died. Why didn't the guy who read the letter die? Because it wasn't his father. The same thing the Rebbe wanted to impart into us, that we should feel this anxiety, not this anxiety, but this will to go out there and to do what we have to do from within our guts. This is Pesach Sheni. We have been blessed. We have been blessed, even in these tough times that we are experiencing right now. And Rabbi Shalom to have Rahmanis on not only Klal Yisrael, but on the world. I mean, this is not only a particular Jewish issue, this is a global issue. This is literally a global issue. If you think about it, nobody, Rabbi Terenaz wrote that, I don't know if he wrote that, I'm a historian, but you know, I'm a historian. In Lubavitch, I'm a historian because no one took history in class. I'm the only guy that stayed awake during history class, so I became an official historian in Lubavitch. You know, no one else had history. Was basically in history. I mean, okay, fine. But you know what? Never in history, never, no anti-Semite was able to do what the coronavirus did. Hitler, Antiochus, Parai, no one was ever able to close down all the shuls in the world. No one. It came along a coronavirus. So we're living in a very dark and testing time. But the Rebbeinu Shloim is doch a gutter. The Rebbeinu Shloim is doch, he wants to do good. Teva Tov Lehetiv. He wants to get us out of this. So I say like this, look, Pesach Sheni came along to rectify a situation that was an uncomfortable situation. So what he did was he allowed these people who, unfortunately, for whatever the circumstances were, couldn't bring a Korban Pesach to bring a Korban Pesach. So now, rectify the situation, just like you did then, look like you did then. You took care of them, and you took care of the B'nai Slavchad, and you took care of everybody there. Take care of it now. I'm willing, ladies and gentlemen, I am willing to forego a cure for the coronavirus if Rabbi Shalom sends Mashiach. That's all. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait for the cure. Don't wait for an antidote. Don't wait for testing. Don't wait for anything. Don't wait. You took care of the people in the Midbar. Take care of us now. Send Mashiach right now and take care of the whole situation. We won't have to worry about the coronavirus. We'll go lechatchila riber. We're in the month of Iyar. The ganze Chodesh Iyar is a lechatchila riber dike Chodesh from the Rebbe Marash. So don't go under. Don't make us wait. We'll find testing, and then we'll have to go through another year of testing, and then we'll have to go this, and we'll have to go that, and there'll be shakel vetarius. Is it good? Isn't it good? And we'll be fighting among each other. Go lechatchila riber, Rabbeinu Shalom. That's it. You expected of us. You wanted from us. You want us to go out there, the kayach atzminu, from our own volition, to go out to reach the Bnei Yisrael and to bring them closer to Yiddishkeit and bring them closer to you. Now it's your job. Now we did whatever, we did it. We did it. We brought the world closer for years, for decades. The Rebbe pushed. We were successful. We brought a new consciousness to Yiddishkeit. We brought as many thousands of Balshuvas closer, children and families closer to this. We did it. We did exactly what you wanted us to do. Now you have to do it. Now Pesach Sheni, show us that you are appreciate the effort and the Mesiras Nefesh of those people like Yossi and Shisha, like that Yid back in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, or the Yid that, that Elazar ben Dodai that died, because he wanted the Tshuva law, or all the Yidden. We're talking about Pesach Sheni, 1941, when the Frierdiker Rebbe was Farbrengen, what was going on in Europe? That year, 1941, is when the Nazis met in Wannsee. Wannsee is a suburb of Berlin. It was a famous January 1941 Wannsee conference, where top Nazi leaders met together, not Hitler. Hitler was not there, but Eichmann was there and others were there. And right at that conference, decided to implement the final solution. That's when they started building the concentration camps, Rahman al-Islam. That's when in 1941, the same year that the Frierdiker Rebbe was Farbrengen, but Pesach Sheni was the year, all the Kedoshim, the 6 million Kedoshim that gave their lives only simply because they were Yidden. No other crime except that they were a Yid. And I'm reminded of a story. We're talking about, these people, these tzaddikim that, prior, they were boidim, they were traitors. And at the last moment, there's a famous story of a Mr. Weissfish who was a head of a work detail in Auschwitz. And every day they would go out and he would divvy up the jobs. On Yom Kippur, they went out to work. The Nazis knew it was Yom Kippur. They knew it was Yom Kippur. So what did they do? When the Jews came back, tired, dirty, broken, starving, they had a whole table laden with food in the barracks. And they said, partake. No one would take. So they said, Weissfish, you start. You're the head of the detail. You start eating. And he said, Jews don't eat on Yom Kippur. So the Nazi was laughing at him. He said, Weissfish, I know who you are. What are you talking about? You ate chazer before the war. I know where you're from. I know you. You ate chazer, Shabbos. You never went to shul. You never even went to shul on Yom Kippur. What are you telling me now? Jews don't eat on Yom Kippur. Start eating. Jews don't eat on Yom Kippur. He said, Weissfish, now you're making me look bad. Take something. Jews don't eat on Yom Kippur. So the Nazi took out his gun and said to him, Weissfish, if you don't start eating, I'm going to shoot you right now. And the last words this man said on earth, Jews don't eat on Yom Kippur, and the Nazi killed him right there and then. Right there and then, he killed him. Kedoshim. Al tikre begodov ela boigdov. Don't read the word begodov. Don't read the word that Yitzchak smelled Yaakov's clothing. He smelled the traitors. The traitors he smelled. The ones that came back at the last moment, at the last seconds of their lives, what did they say? We don't eat on Yom Kippur. A Yid has that spark of Mesiras Nefesh in his heart. That's what Pesach Sheni is about. So we beseech the Rabbeinu Shalom today. Ad Masai, till and where's, look who we lost. Look who we lost in the past few weeks. It wasn't only the people in Crown Heights. Every Yid, of course, is an Olam Moli. But think about who we lost. The leadership, has gone away. Rabbi Groner, Rabbi Shvei, and others like that. Ad Masai. So show us tomorrow is a perfect day, as a Mazel Tov. Now that's a private thing. It's a perfect day to go Lechatchila River. Lechatchila River, it's Pesach Sheni, you can rectify. You didn't send Mashiach 10 years ago, 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. We understand. You have your cheshbonis. We don't know what your cheshbonis are. We don't know what your machshavas are, but we know one thing. You demanded of us Lechatchila River, and we did it. For 3,500 years, we have been your water carriers here on earth. Starting with Avram Avinu, Lech Lecha, and he went. And from him, thousands and millions of people have gone and have died up in Mesiras Nefesh. So Dayenu, it's enough. Don't wait. I know the Rabbeinu Shalom loves. He loves when a Yid puts on tefillin. I know the Rabbeinu Shalom loves when a Yid goes. I'm just smiling because I see a familiar face in the crowd. But only the Rabbeinu Shalom loves when a Yid goes out, puts on tefillin. The Rabbeinu Shalom loves when a Yid goes and a woman goes to the mikveh. He loves all of these things. And okay, I understand that. But it's enough. It's enough. We've done it. We've done it and done it and done it. And tonight, we beseech you in the name of this beautiful gathering that we have today and all the other Farbrengens around the world. It's Pesach Sheni. Do the right thing, God. Do the right thing. Send Mashiach Tzidkenu. Let's not go into Shabbos without Mashiach. Why do we have to? Show the world, Taka, that you know what? They went through it. They suffered. They came out of it smelling like roses. They did it. Look at us. Look at us today. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Yidden learning Torah, being Mekayim mitzvahs. Unbelievable. Do the right thing, Hashem. You demand of us, and you say to us, Magid V'Rav Liyankov, that you will only do what you only tell us to do, what you yourself will do. We did it. We crossed the line already. We scored a touchdown. We brought the ball into the end zone. Now we need the celebration. We need you to send Mashiach Tzidkenu. Take it from Miyad. Take it from Miyad. This is what the Rebbe wanted. He was Mashiach. What do you call a person who's a drunkard? He's an addict. He was a Mashiach addict. Literally a Mashiach addict. All he wanted was Mashiach to come. Now is the time. We did it. We went out there. We flipped the switch on Yidden. We did it b'koyach atzmeinu. We did it with our own volition. And now we come to you today, begging you and beseeching you on behalf of the world, not only B'nai Yisrael, but on behalf of 7 billion people, that each one of them relies on every minute of your kindness to finish this off. Show the world that, Dayenu, it's enough. You did it. Mashiach is coming. And we could bring again another Korban Pesach on Pesach Sheni, and all those questions of how we're going to get there to throw, like the Rabbi used to say by Farbrengens, Eliyahu has to come before Mashiach, Mashiach before Eliyahu. Let him come, and Eliyahu will answer all the questions, even on Shabbos, even on Yom Tov, whatever the circumstances are going to be. And let us again reunite with our beloved Rebbe. Take it from Yad Mamish. L'chaim, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure for bringing with you. I know that I am totally inspired. I hope that you are inspired as well. Rabbi Tenenas, to you, I lift a glass. You want to learn? No, thank you. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Thank you, Rabbi. Perelmuter.
How much? The address is 1031 Amelia. You could make it, the enumerations, make it out to Chabad of Costa Rica, because I like to send my donations to Chabad of Costa Rica. So please, if you don't mind, make it out to Chabad of Costa Rica. I'm going to send it over to Rochester, New York. The Rabbi is going to take care of it. And when Mamachin ain't straight dry. Okay. No. Rabbi Ternas, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Perelmuter, and for everyone who has tuned in for tonight's Pesach Sheni. And no doubt about it, as Rabbi Perelmuter said, Magi Devar V'Yankev, that what Hashem commands us to do, these are His mitzvahs. There's no question the Pesach Sheni of the Rabbeinu Shalom is sending Mashiach. Never too late. He should send Mashiach right now. That's the Eibishter's Pesach Sheni. Never too late, the Rabbeinu Shalom. Do it now. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Rabbi Baumgarten, if you'd like to join and lead us in a niggin.
A niggin.
Hashem Eloheinu Belokeinu Havo Yisayenu Shivone Besamigdal
Rabbi Perelmuter, I'm going to finish off just one time, but I'll give it over to Rabbi Tenenhaus. As others here like to say a few words, I know other Chashva people. It's Pesach Sheni. The Rebbe always said, you know what? Most important thing of every Farbrengen is to make achlatas. All right? Of course, we want Mashiach, and we need Mashiach, we need Mashiach. But the most important thing is how we walk away from this Farbrengen. So I'm asking everyone, including myself, to please, Pesach Sheni, as we said before, is no one is lost. Let's rededicate our efforts, whatever we're into, whether it's to be Mekarva Yid, whether it's to reach out to other Yidden, no matter what, we will do something tomorrow before Shabbos to strengthen and to do what the Rebbe wants us to do. If you're a shliach and that's your job, no, of course, but if you're not, if you're just somebody, there's no just somebodies. There's no somebodies. In the Rebbe's eyes, there's no just guy. You're not just a guy. You are important in this whole scheme of things. Please use tomorrow as a day. We're all inside. Your friends are inside. Call them. Encourage them to put on tefillin. Encourage the women to light Shabbos candles. Encourage them to do a mitzvah in honor of Pesach Sheni. If they have a piece of matzah, have them eat a piece of matzah. Tell them today's Shir Tanya b'chol dar v'dar b'chol yoyim v'yoyim. Every day we need to think about Yetzias Mitzrayim. And what does Yetzias Mitzrayim mean? Meitzar Gvul, our own limitations, not someone else's limitations, our own limitations. And the Alter Rebbe is begging us and beseeching us that every single day, and the Rebbe asks us every single day, get out there. So please, Tomorrow is a beautiful opportunity. It's Friday, Erev Shabbos. It's easy. Reach out to somebody. Make a call. If it's somebody, even to repair a relationship. Call somebody who you, some Rahman al-Islam you haven't been talking to, or whatever the circumstances are. Pick up the phone and do something tomorrow. I know that if we will cause a critical mass, if enough of us will do these things and cause this unbelievable positive energy in the world, I don't know how the industry is not going to reciprocate, but it's going to take every single one of us, every one of us. I leave it up to you. You tut was you can't tear a welt to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let's not leave this Farbrengen without making a dedicated effort for Achdus. Achdus! That's what we want. Shalom Ber, I forgive you. I'm forgiving now publicly for Shalom Ber Baumgarten, whatever he did for me over the years that he came to me. I'm forgiving him right now. I'm saying right now, with me, Kolam ve'eda, through kosher Edis here online, maybe not. I see a bunch of ganavim, but I'm saying I'm forgive Shalom Ber Baumgarten. You see, I'm starting off by doing a good deed. You, Levi Tenenhaus, no. You I'm not forgiving. But Shalom Ber, I'm going to forgive. Levi Tenenhaus, I'm not forgiving for what you did to me by your bar mitzvah, before your bar mitzvah. I'm not going to get into it. I'm still in therapy for it. Okay, let's just say that. But let's not leave the Farbrengen without making a chata that we are going to do something positive tomorrow. If we could do that, it was worth the 2 hours and whatever it was that we were here. Thank you very much to my good friend that I've met 3 weeks ago, Rabbi Tenenhaus. I hardly knew him, but 3 weeks ago he approached me. I didn't really know much about him. They said he's a nice guy in South Broward. That was a Snam Broward. He thinks of himself as the Manchal Levi. Who's the head of South Broward? Andy. Okay, Rabbi Tenenhaus is now going to take over the floor, and we'll hear some Hartzik eventer, Yashakayich, Mr. Basenko, for those who still remember that, and Megain Weiter. L'chaim. L'chaim.
Hi.
Hi, Bracha.
Look, Rabbi Tenenhaus.
Well, I'm going to wish everyone a very happy Pesach Sheni. Remind you all to eat a little bit of matzah. And like Rabbi Perelmuter said, let's do something extra tomorrow. So we should walk away from this Farbrengen with something extra, whether it's calling someone up to put on tefillin, or whether it's learning an extra mimer on about Pesach Sheni, whatever you could do to increase through this Farbrengen and to increase in the achdus that we have amongst Chassidim, amongst Klal Yisrael. And as Rabbi Perelmuter said, it's about time. The best day would be today. The best time would be now that we have the complete revelation of Mashiach Tzidkenu. So then we will be able to eat from the Korban Pesach tomorrow in Yerushalayim. And our next Farbrengen, which is scheduled with Rabbi Shlomo Zarchi, let him be well and healthy, and thank the Eberster that he came back home. He's going to be leading us in the Farbrengen Tuesday night, Lag BaOmer at 9 o'clock, sharing memories of the early Lag BaOmers with the Rebbe. But let that all take place in Yerushalayim with Mashiach right now.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Just to let everybody know, I have 79 pounds of matzah, if anybody needs. Okay, just let me know. I have 79 pounds leftover shmura matzah. No shlemus. Thank God, from New York to here, no shlemus. So if anybody needs matzah, just let me know, and I'll get you 79 pounds. First come, first serve. I'm only charging you what I paid. That's it. If you want it. If you want it. You could email me at Abba Perelmuter. Yeah. Okay, fine. Isn't it? Thank you very much. Rabbi Tenenhaus, is this it? Can we go?
This is it, and thank you. And whoever needs to make a bracha achroina, including Rabbi Perelmuter, don't forget to make a bracha achroina. And we should see
one more l'chaim. One more l'chaim, because I'm not driving. I don't know about you, but I'm not driving tonight. So l'chaim to everybody, and we want to wish everybody a happy Pesach Sheni, like Rabbi Tenenhaus said, and we should be zeicher to the Gulish Shlema, take it from Yad Mamish.
Amen. L'chaim
v'levracha. 20 more of these, I'll be ready for Reb Michal's minyan. 20. Okay. Good night.
All right, Rabbi Perelmuter, we'll talk about some future guest speakers. The other day we were at a Farbrengen, and somebody in Crown Heights told me that I should make him the Farbrenger. We'll discuss it. We have some ideas.
Okay, we can discuss it. Okay. Why is he not online now, this Mr. Farbrengen that you're talking about? I don't see him online anywhere here. All right, okay.
We'll get him. God will
We'll get him. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night and have a good Shabbos. And we should meet at the next Farbrengen.
Amen. Stay well. Stay safe. Listen to the government. Don't venture outside. Stay home and take care of your families. Be well.
Good night. Thank you.
You could unmute if anybody wants to continue from ringing. Allow participants to unmute themselves.
It's Malki Felig's birthday, Pesach Sheni. Mazel tov.
Oh, happy birthday.
Shnas hatzlacha. Bakoil mikoil koil. Mazel tov.
Amen.
Malcolm.
Amen. We had a party.
Class Rabbi Perelmuter. Hi, Len Levine. I was your next door neighbor at the retreat in Virginia half a dozen years ago. The crazy Litvak that was next door. You always make me laugh. Thank you.
Okay. All right, last call.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was really nice.
Thank you for all those who are saying thank you.
Hello, Marty from Argentina. Hi.
Yes. Chaim.
You remember us?
I don't see you, so I don't know who I'm speaking to.
You don't see me.
But I recognize your voice.
Nothing.
Baruch
Baruch Hashem, what's Mastu?
Hashem.
Well, good to see you.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Saw you the other week on the anniversary of the 40 years for the Shluchim.
Right. It was 40 years for the Shluchim by them, and we came to Argentina exactly a week after that. The same day, a week later. So we also, we had our 40th anniversary of Shlichus.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Chaim to that. And Ulay Shleimar, it wasn't just Argentina, it's to the whole Latin America and Latin all over the world. That's your Shlichus has definitely changed the face of anybody that speaks Spanish.
Yeah. Well,
No?
I
I know for sure here in Miami, the amount of people that are learning Tanya from the Kahas translated to Spanish, I mean, is baffling. So, Chaim.
Today I received a picture of somebody in Tzfas, in the Beis HaChaim in Tzfas, next to the Tzion of the Rebbe's brother. In the picture, he was holding a Tehillim with Spanish translation and transliteration that we did here in Argentina.
I'm telling you, it's a world. It's not a just Argentina. It's the whole world.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem. Ashish Zochinu.
Yeah. Chaim.
Chaim V'Bracha. Should always hear good news and take the Ike good news that Moshiach is here.
Amen.
Make sure all the Yidden in Miami who speak Spanish have the sparring then, Marty.
Yeah. We send them very often to the website. Baruch Hashem, there is.
It should be Terech Hadosh already.
We have in Shul a full shafer. Sidurim, everything.
May the shul be reopened and people should use them.
Amen.
In Yerushalayim, Rabbi, yes. Okay, that's?
Yeah. Okay, good Shabbos. Thank you.
Yeah, good Shabbos.
Thank you.
Okay.